the Syrian Refugee Crisis.
First of all, here's what's happened so far and how we got to where we are now.
Refused to step down and started a brutal civil war. Different ethnicities and religious groups fought each other in changing coalitions. ISIS, a militaristic jihadist group, used the opportunity and entered the chaos with the goal to build a totalitarian Islamic caliphate. Very quickly, it became one of the most violent and successful extremist organizations on earth. All sides committed horrible war crimes using chemical weapons, mass executions, torture on a large scale, and repeated deadly attacks on civilians.
America needs to ask themselves whether or not they need to help those who are in need.
Yes.
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 This is affecting real lives. There are millions of Syrian children out there, just like him.
Facing violence and oppression in return, a war was triggered. A war that was too complicated as a result of multiple political divisions. In 1 year, 5,000 people were killed, out of which 300 were children. Then everything went wrong, just wrong. Today, the total number of lives lost is approximately 470,000. So this child's family, along with many other families, started fleeing from Syria to escape the horrible war in hopes of finding a new beginning where they don't have to wake up to the sound of bombs every day. By 2016, more than 4,840,000 Syrians were displaced, among which were children who lost families, schools, and friends.
So how can America help the Syrian refugees?
Let's hear from Lisa Engelsman, a Sun missionary who is currently helping to resettle a family of Syrian refugees and a family of refugees from Sudan.
Gotten involved with some refugees that are in our local Detroit area. And one of the families is Syrian. One of the families is from Sudan, both Muslim families.
Do we have a role to play?
There's two different roles. Like there's a role of our government, of the U.S. government, in making sure that Americans are safe and that they're checking backgrounds and they're doing all this kinds of information, checking on who's coming into our country. And that's the role of the government. But for us as Christians, as believers, we have a different role. We're called by God to love our neighbors.
What is America currently doing to help the Syrian refugees?
She's here to talk about the Obama administration's goal of accepting 10,000 Syrian refugees into the United States. Alicia Caldwell, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So let's just start with the story that you wrote. You said that the U.S. is poised to hit this target. How many Syrian refugees have been accepted into the U.S. already?
I'm going to refer to my notes so I don't get it
Sure.
wrong. So far, we're at about 7,900. 2,300 odd individuals were resettled in July, so that put them sort of much closer to the cap that they had set earlier in the year. There were a lot of critics, a lot of advocates for accepting more refugees who were very concerned that the numbers were rather low and the process was rather slow at that stage. So at this point, they're definitely on track. They're 2,000 shy, and it looks like in the next 2 months, as the fiscal year comes to an end at the end of September, that they'll hit that mark.
This is the Obama administration's plans to admit 110,000 refugees into the United States through the Refugee Admissions Program. That will begin Saturday. The tragic reality is that we have millions of displaced persons in the world today. Persons that are short of food and water, persons endangered by conflicts throughout various regions of the world.
I'm calling out Donald J. Trump to use the resources that are at America's and his disposal to let in an additional 100,000 refugees and to create safe havens overseas for refugees in need of humanitarian aid.